All you have to decide is what to do with the time that is given to you.
We're going streaky! Yes!
What's up, everybody? Welcome into the Dynasty War Zone. Unfortunately, this is not Memphis. You are stuck with myself, Kyle August, at Kyle Month8, the host of the Fantasy Football Smackdown here on this lovely network. But have no fear. The man of the hour and the man with the power, Jerry Sinclair, is still rocking the other side of this mic. How's it going, Jerry?
It's going, man. So let me just paint a little behind the scenes picture. So Randy calls me, I don't know, like 13 minutes ago. And he's like, I have no power. Kyle's doing this thing. I have a text from Kyle. He's like, hey, I'm Randy tonight. Right on. So I am actually probably the most prepared person that's on there, which is the first time. So it's good to see Randy's a human being because he's such a cyborg that's always, every single week, even when he's in Italy, he's like speaking half Italian and he's doing it over smoke signals to try and get a podcast. So it's good. I'm glad that it's happening. He's only got 32% phone battery. I bet he's wasting it watching us right now. Poor bastard.
I'm sure he is. The dude is an absolute monster. I don't know how he does so much. And I do a lot of content, but people have been following me for a little while. You know, I was at one year, actually did 2 seasons in a row. I was doing 4 shows a week, and all these shows were like an hour a piece. And I don't know what the hell I was thinking, and I got just burned the hell out. So
I appreciated it back then. Dude, I was a subscriber back then.
And I had enough time to actually also listen to podcasts too. Now, man, I barely have enough time to breathe. It seemed like I lucked out that I was just chilling tonight, so filling in for Memphis. But yeah, Memphis is a freaking machine, bro. Like every Sunday morning, I think I jumped on there with him and Jesse like for 10 minutes, like maybe week 1, and then maybe for another half hour in week 3, and then every week I'm always just like, yeah, I can't do another day of podcasting. But yeah, Memphis is a freaking stud. So he'll be back. He even told me, he said, tell the people I owe him a bonus episode later this week. So, I mean, the dude just doesn't stop. So Memphis will probably be here for sure with the regularly scheduled programming later on in the week. But you never know. That's why you got to stay subscribed wherever you're listening to podcasts. Rumor has it as well. Now I don't know, I was going to say a pigeon, but maybe the right word is a sheep. I'm an Apple user, so, you know, Apple Podcast. But the word is Spotify has released the ability to rate podcasts now, which they never had because for some reason. So if you're listening to this, it doesn't matter which device you have. Spotify is available everywhere to everyone. So please go in there right now, even if you've already left reviews on other platforms. Leave a 5-star in there. Let Memphis know how much you appreciate him and everybody else here on the network, because it's been an awesome year. It's been a lot of fun. We got some stuff to talk about tonight. We're just going to kind of hang out, shoot the shit a bit as we are in week 17. So that's my last little commercial. Rate and review the show. Stay subscribed. Tons of content coming at you still this week per usual. I'll be back here live on Thursday night, 7 p.m. Eastern time. I don't even know what day it is anymore, but 7 p.m. Eastern time with a start sit. No Thursday night football this week, but still hanging out, answering your questions. So come bring those questions, and I got some start sits for you guys. But I want to start this show off non-fantasy related news, but honestly may have been the gateway drug to this game that we call fantasy football, and that is the passing of John Madden, who I had to educate my wife on who John Madden was. So that was a very sad moment for me. My night so far, Jerry, just to give you a glimpse behind my curtain so far, I shoveled my driveway for the first time this year. That was a horse's ass. Not fun at all.
How much did you get?
We got like 4 inches. We got like 4 inches. So it not bad, but I just moved here. So this is the first time I've had to actually shovel a real driveway in my life. So I don't know. The snow has moved elsewhere, so I'm assuming I did okay. And then John Madden passed away. I'm like, oh. And then I tell my wife, like, oh, John Madden passed away. She's like, who's John Madden? So that was this little education bomb I had to drop there. But so real quick, I guess, I know for me, when I hear John Madden and we're same generation here, same age, I think of Madden football, man, and just video game, big time gamer back in the day. Do you were you a Madden guy back in the day, or still?
Not still. I was back in the day. More college football than anything, but John Madden always reminds me of the turducken or like the six-legged turkey because the Lions always play on Thanksgiving. And, when I was a kid growing up, it was always John Madden. So he'll always be that to me. So he's a man, the myth, the legend. I never knew him as a coach or anything. He was always just the legendary voice of what football became. And honestly, without him, the sport doesn't grow to what it is. We're not sitting here doing this. Fantasy football doesn't exist. The NFL is not the juggernaut that it is without John Madden. So to paradise, my friend. Rest easy, King.
Absolutely. And I didn't catch the Madden documentary on Christmas, but on Fox, they're playing on Fox Sports 1 tonight, probably right now. Don't watch it right now. Record it right now. Hang out with us. But they're playing it again, I think, on Wednesday night too. So whenever you're listening to this, if you're listening on the podcast, I'm looking forward to checking that out. I heard it's really good. And just kind of crazy coincidence, I guess this kind of happened at the same time. But man, I same thing. Like as much as I was disappointed in my wife not knowing who John Madden was, I'm pretty sure my dad felt that same disappointment for me when I'm like, oh, John Madden, the video game guy. And he's just like, for real. Like, you mean Hall of Fame coach John Madden? Maybe? No? Okay. Man, my memories definitely are this video game. And that's how I got into football and learned plays and cover. I didn't play football. I'm too damn small and slow and white.
You look at me, because I'm all those same things too, buddy.
So, man, I just remember like, learning plays by playing Madden. After a while, I outgrew the Ask Madden, but learning defensive coverages and the way that game just transformed football for me was just crazy. And I know for me, even before I started playing fantasy, I don't know if you ever did this, but in the franchise mode, you could do like a full draft like of your team. Like instead of starting with a franchise where you got their roster, all 32 teams, all the players just got dumped into a bowl and you drafted your team. Like, and that was
my other option was picking the Detroit Lions, which I wasn't going to do. So I did a lot of that.
That's true. You got to take the Lions to the Super Bowl somehow. And that's the best way to do it. Blow the thing up, start over. That's too funny, man. But yeah, that was definitely my earliest memories was just staying up until freaking 4 a.m, just nonstop playing Madden. Do you remember what the first game, like Madden game you remember playing? Do you remember what year it was or who was on the cover of that one?
Oh God, Ray Lewis was like 2000 or something.
Yeah.
And that was like, I'm pretty sure I probably played before them, but that's the one that I can remember. Because I remember like NFL 2K came out right around then too. But that was up and down and it was gone. And that was the end of that. Mike Kinney in the chat said, boom, tough acting to Acton. I totally forgot about that.
Oh, yeah.
That is a good one.
Oh, Mike, that's beautiful. I forgot about tough acting to Acton. Oh, that's awesome, man. Yeah, I think I remember playing the one with Eddie George. I think that was 2001. I don't know if I even own that one. Obviously, was it 03, 04, the Mike Vick Madden game will forever just, that one was crazy. I'm pretty sure I played, because I was a huge Mike Vick fan, but I played franchise mode with the Cowboys and the Falcons, so I could play with Mike Vick. I played every game on like 7-minute quarters. I did like 5 full seasons.
You played 7-minute quarters?
Yeah.
Oh my God, you're a psycho.
It was ridiculous. It was every game took over an hour. I would just play, and yeah, I used to be really, really good. Like I used to know like how all the audibles and stuff that you could do. Like I wouldn't even call plays. I would just make them all like at the line, just no huddle it. And then I didn't play for a long time. And now I'm very, very bad. And I got my ass kicked by my friend's kid who's like 8 years old the last time I played. So I'm semi-retired.
Like kids like that are freaks anyway.
Yeah.
Listen, I play some shooters. I play Apex Legends quite a bit. Bro, I got to listen to my 12-year-old teammates tell me I'm trash all the time. So I pity you. I understand where you're coming from. I know the pain.
Yep. It's so it was that, and yes, I'm pretty much not a gamer anymore. I buy some stuff here and there, mess around with it, realize I'm horrible, try to stay offline because then I realize I'm even worse. But if I had, Madden was the one thing that for much of my life, that was a big part of it. So tough news tonight, but 85 good years and a long legacy left by John Madden.
Yeah.
And other not so great news, but not as uplifting, especially, is this COVID situation across the league, which is, I mean, damn, it's and I'm not much of a complainer most of the time. Like, I just kind of roll with it. I feel like in our interactions too, Jay, you're kind of just like go with the flow type of guy.
Yeah.
But this stuff has been annoying. It's gotten under my skin for sure. And just from the standpoint of everything it's hard to keep track of, and fantasy championships are being determined by this stuff. So wherever you stand on doesn't matter. Just and this game is just a part of it. But NFL rules changing to now only require 5 days between a positive test. If you do not have symptoms, you can return to the field or practice or the game, whatever, within 5 days. So even today, with Carson Wentz being ruled out, put on the COVID list, do these changes, he could be active. So it's so freaking fluid. But any thoughts or insights on how you've been handling this, I guess, or how any fantasy owners should be taking a look at this over this last week of this season as we're trying to make our way through it?
So what I am not going to discuss is any sort of political jargon regarding
yes,
thank
you. I'll leave that to other people.
Yes. We are a Dynasty podcast, so I'm going to discuss it in that way. I think it's fantastic that they only did it to 5 days. I don't care about the morality of it. Like I said, we're talking about Dynasty. I'm trying to win money, and I'm trying to spit in my teammates' faces and make them cry. Yes. I say that, but in all the leagues I'm in with Kyle, he's the one that's shitting on everybody, and I've got the first pick. I think it's a good thing. I mean, it's been so hard. We play a hard game. Mm-hmm. Like it's so hard to predict everything. Really, we do the best we can with the information that we're given, and even then, we are diving deeper than any normal sane human being goes to get that information, and it's just gotten worse. Like, mm-hmm. I won a semifinal matchup, and I had Justin Jackson and Chase Edmonds. I won I think the first round in a Superflex league, I had Tyler Heineke and Nick Foles, and I beat Aaron Rodgers and like Russell Wilson or something. Like the playoffs this year have been unfathomable. They have been heartbreaking for so many teams. Matthew Stafford, great year. And guess what? You guys just got? You just got the Matthew Stafford in the playoff curse. Sorry. He just ripped your heart out. Been there, seen that. I know how it goes. He actually did it to me in Patreon 4, I think, too. So I still fell for it.
Yeah.
But it's tough. I would love to tell you some sort of strategy, but if you have active players, play active players essentially at this point. Like it's tough.
Mike asked in the chat, does that count for guys put on COVID IR last week? Yeah, it's retroactive. So any player that even Wentz was today, but even any players that went on the COVID list in the last few days or even last week, as long as they do not have symptoms, apparently for 5 days, they can come back. So any player pretty much put on, I guess, until, if you're listening to this on the podcast, Wednesday, I guess, if that's how day counting works, then, they could be active. So the good thing is this week, there's no Thursday game. There's no Saturday games. So you pretty much have your full complement. I know for me, for whatever reason, it was all my decisions were Donta Foreman or COVID guy. And I'm like, well, crap, I got to make my decision like today.
Right.
I had to do that for Kelsey in a league. He came back off the list today, but I did that for Kelsey. And I just had to, for that, I just went with some points because I had no other options. Hopefully what this will do is allow, with everybody playing on the same day, will allow fantasy owners to be able to adjust that day. But man, this stuff, it's coming down like to game time. I mean, we've seen. So, my only real,
like James Conner. Sorry to interrupt.
Yeah, no, you're good.
We talked before we recorded. Even that morning they said James Conner was likely to play. James Conner said he was going to play. There wasn't any way he was going to miss the game, and the reports were coming out. And then we got to game time, and it was Chase Edmonds and James Conner's out.
Yeah,
it's been tough.
It's been really tough, and I think the one thing that we lose from this is seeing how these teams will actually treat an 18-game season, because with all this COVID stuff, they're just trying to get enough damn guys to put on the field. Yeah. So I think part of this too, like, it's going to be tough to look back and be like, well, did we see more injuries or more missed games due to the extra game in the NFL season, this extended season? I don't know. We're not gonna be able to tell that because you got to weed through all this other all the COVID adjustments that NFL teams have had to make to their roster, let alone fantasy players. So one thing I noted on the waiver show yesterday, I just still go back. It's super quick episode. Now I just gave you 3 guys at each position if you're doing waivers tonight. But one thing I noted was, wow, there's some guys that are definitely worth adding. When you took Dare in, won't pronounce your last name, for Jacksonville, Boston Scott, like those guys are fine. You can add them. But for me, there's some spots where I'm like, I'm just going to hold my fab and wait it out because a lot of my leagues waivers run every day. Right. I'm going to wait out and see what this COVID thing hits because you may end up needing a player that you don't even think is relevant today and all of a sudden is extremely relevant, i.e. Justin
Reynolds,
Jackson.
how you doing, buddy?
Yeah. So just freaking craziness right now these last few weeks. And it's just been really, really tough with this obviously being the biggest time of year for fantasy. So if you win your championship, man, you be proud of it as anything. It doesn't matter. If you lose out, if you want to blame that, I'm okay with that too, I think, with that reasoning. Yeah. But believe me, if I win, I'm treating it just like I don't care if the entire other team was ruled out with COVID and that lineup was set. I want it, right? Because banners hang forever.
4, 5, 6 years, you know who's going to remember that? Only the guy you beat, and no one's going to care what he says.
Yes, exactly. Speaking of the finals here, we're obviously in week 17, which still feels weird. So real quick, did most of your leagues, are they playing their finals this week? Did you have any that left it in week 6 and 16? I think it was Waldman kind of posted out there. Might've been him, maybe a football guys, but, guy on Twitter was like, hey, maybe some leagues decide to kind of roll this back into a 16-week season. How did your leagues approach it? How have you been feeling so far now that we're approaching week 17 championship season for a lot of people?
I lost in a championship this week. I think that was the only one that had a championship. So for the most part, they all got rolled to week 17, which is, I think that's the way it should be for the most part. But yeah, it does suck to sort of be in a championship and have already lost it. And the worst part was it's a winner take all league.
So
you do all that and then you get all the way to the championship and you're sweating Monday night and you lose by 12 points or something. And then boop, nothing.
Yeah, all of my leagues, and I commish way too many damn leagues. And this year's been fun because I've been doing some extra stuff to try to keep those leagues entertaining. But I rolled all mine to 17 because the NFL put the bye weeks in week 14. So we'll see if that happens again this year. But unfortunately, I think we lose a lot of the litmus test with this. But that actually was something that I threw in here. There is no show sheet. I literally just put some crap down that was off the top of my head, plus what Memphis has added to me in text. But you mentioned something that's interesting to me. What is your thoughts on splitting the pot? So if you have leagues obviously have designated winnings, right? First place gets X, second place gets X. What's your thought? This is usually that time of year where that discussion happens. So I thought it might be good to bring up here. The idea of the first and second place guy get together and say, hey, regardless of who wins, let's split it this way, right? Have you done that before? Any thoughts on that? Do you just want to, put a foot on the throat, or are you good being cordial?
I will offer it every single time, and I will accept it every single time. Even if I am undefeated and I think I have the best team, I will always take it because shit can happen. Mm-hmm. And James Robinson, right? Like I got James Robinson, and he's gonna. Urban Meyer's gone, and he's
against
gonna
the
eat.
Jets.
Yeah, he's gonna eat, and no, he's not.
Yeah.
So I'm always gonna do that, and the point of this game is to make money. Like you have fun, and we do all that. Like I do it because we're obsessive freaks. You do it that reason too. Don't lie. So but in the end, you want to have money so you can continue to do it. Because if you just lose every year, your significant other is going to choke you until you pass out and not let you do it again. So I will always do that. I will always take the opportunity to win money because even if I split the pot, it's still going to pay for 4 years or something of my dues in that league. Cool. Yeah. Doing it every time.
Yep. I'm with you.
And it's nice when you split it and then you lose. It's always good. Because if you win, you still win. Like you're like, I'm the champ. Like that's cool. I got money and I'm the champ. You lose, you're like, I made a little bit more. Gotcha.
Yeah, I don't really see too much of the downside. I've seen people argue it like, collusion, and it's just like the championship is the champ. Everybody wants to win, whether you split it right down the middle or not ahead of time, and that's what you agree on. The only real thing that you could run into as far as negative, in my opinion, is just if the person that makes the agreement backs out of it, right? If they win and they're like, yeah, I'm not giving you the money, like that would be a really shitty thing to do.
Yes.
So as a commissioner, for me, I'll just, from that vantage point, I'll just give that first. It's between those individuals. Like, I am staying the hell out of it. I'm not being a part of that at all. What I will do is I will send the money to you guys, however it is determined in the rules, and you guys figure it out. Because I don't want to be the one that's, when that happens, a guy backs out or whatever, and now I have to play referee.
It just makes your job harder. Like as a commissioner, like, just make my job easy. So I don't want to actually have to do more work than I need to.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So I'm with you though too. I usually am a fan of doing that. I know especially in what I usually do, honestly, in some leagues is like, let's just say as an example, the pot's $500 for first and second place combined. What I'll usually do is like, hey, do you want to do 200 a piece, and then we'll play for the 100, right? So that way the winner gets a little bit more, because I'm in some leagues where like the first place, let's say out of that 500, they get like 400 of it, and the second place only gets 100, or sometimes less. And I get it, as a commissioner, I like rewarding the first place team and giving you, giving you the option, I guess, at how you want to handle it. But I know for some of those, that's just like, I'm in a league like that. I was actually just texting with a guy before this, and the difference is like, literally, I would win over my entry fee $90 if I finish second. If I win, I would win $550 over my, and so I'm like, hey, so I messaged him like, hey, do you want to play for 200? So like, let's leave 200 in the middle. We'll play for that, and we'll split the rest, because we worked our asses off. And if I win $90 for all the time I put in here dusting you MFers all year, I'm gonna be pissed off.
That's true.
So I have no problem doing that. So if anyone approaches you with that, if you don't want to do it, it's all you. I totally get it. I've been in that position where I feel like I'm the lesser team, and I'm coming like kind of maybe it's an out, and people have said no. That's totally fine. But it's Jerry and Kyle approved if you do want to go that route. So,
true.
I would recommend, if you can set a little piece aside, still play for something, still makes a little bit more fun. But even it out, I'm all for that. So, but back to the playoffs. You mentioned you were in one already, came up short, but hey, it's one game. Anything can freaking happen.
Yep.
But how is your season gone? How many finals you have coming up? How you feeling about week 17 for you personally?
So I don't ever actually count how many I've got. I definitely lost.
A good strategy.
I don't. So I definitely lost at least a few semifinals, and I'm definitely in a few championships. I have one where I'm playing against Randy. So that's maybe, you know what? I might not chop the pot with him. I might just go for that dude's jugular. But and then I actually, maybe I shouldn't though, because we share a team that we're in the championship for. And for all I know, he's going to start Daniel Jones or something, and then we're not going to get anything. It's going good though. I'm actually only in 2 redraft leagues. So, and I am in the championship of both of them. So maybe I need to stop doing this podcast, and I need to go with you, because apparently my hit rate is pretty good over there. But it's gone well. As long as I don't look on my fantasy league, because absolutely every single one of those teams is 100% putrid. Now it's usually by design. Honestly, I haven't even checked my scores the last 3 weeks, because I just knew I was either 101 or 102, and it doesn't matter. But, there was a couple leagues where I thought I would do better, and it's fallen apart. Your contract league, I think I have such a good team in that league. And then it's like, well, I have T. Higgins, right? And T. Higgins blows up when I lose in the first round, which is just awesome. I love every second of it. So it's tough. The Patreon one is another one. How are yours doing, my friend? You see, I know you're in at least one championship that we're in.
Yeah, I'm doing. I mentioned this before the.
Did you beat Randy too? In that
league? I beat Randy in the IDP league that we're in. So that felt good. He did return the favor in the Aussie versus US league that I think you guys are facing off. He cleaned my freaking clock in that one. My team is trash, and I had Eckler out, and that he's literally if like a picture of my team would literally be Austin Eckler and Jonathan Taylor dragging my corpse into the playoffs, because that was all I had. And then my third good player, which is literally all I have, was Godwin. So I was effed.
Yeah.
And he whooped on me pretty good. So I did pull the upset in Rockolution, which is an IDP league that we're in. So I made the championship. I'm facing off against AJ of the Aussie guys.
Is that a rematch?
That is a rematch. We faced off last year. I was the 1 seed last year. He was the 2. He beat me. And this year we were both we didn't have the 1 or 2. We were 3 or through 6, something in there. But him and I are the highest 2 scoring teams. I'm the highest scoring team. I was 9-5 somehow. But we're facing off again. And the thing is, this is actually like a reboot. Were you in the original 2 Legit league? Were you in that with us?
I was not.
So that was an IDP league too, I think. And in that league, the first year, Seth and I were co-running a team, and then we lost to G in the finals. So I'm 0-2 in IDP league finals against the Aussie guys. But that one is one I definitely want to win. And the thing I love about that league is I don't even know. I could win $5. It doesn't even matter to me. I don't even know how much that is. But if I beat AJ's ass, I am going to feel on cloud 9. Even though he beat me last year, it doesn't matter. What have you done for me lately? So, but honestly, no. For me, man, I lucked out, which is all I'm going to call it. I had 11 matchups in the semifinals, and I won 9 of those last week because of T. Higgins. So I have a lot of championship match. I'm like we mentioned before we hit record. My week was so good last week. It was probably the best semifinals week I've ever had. So I'm sure it's all going to balance out and the craps can hit the fan and I'm in big trouble in week 17. But I'm in the finals in my home league, which is like my most important one. That's a keeper league. We're in year 11. Got to get that done. So that one's the big one, but I'm in a bunch of others where I'm really looking forward to hopefully getting some championships. But when you play in like a bazillion leagues, you gotta be in some finals. So,
yes.
If you're playing like 5 and you didn't make it this year, there's no problem with that. I mean, 5 is still a sicko status to a lot of people. So when you're approaching double digits, you gotta have something, right? You gotta have some return on this stuff. So one other thing I wanted to touch base with you on, and just since we're talking finals, a lot of dynasty leagues, whether I like it or not, they don't have a trade deadline. So I hit you up in right before the first week of the playoffs because I lost Baker to COVID. So I needed a quarterback because I'd lost all my other quarterbacks in that same league we were just talking about. And I'm playing AJ, and then I beat Memphis. I traded you for Jared Goff. Hell yeah. So that was a big win. So how do you usually approach, like, this is it, last week, there's 2 teams left. Are you actively like pestering those people like, hey, I got one good guy over here. Do you want to pick, I'll take a third for him or flip scenario. If you're in the championship, are you looking to add players right now? Because I know a lot of people are like, this is not the time to trade your picks away. So how do you approach it?
If I'm in the championship, I usually don't go hunting. But if someone is in the championship and they go hunting for my players, absolutely. Like I made a trade. I think it was Nate Pilmer sent me a trade today. He wanted my Sony Michel, and he sent me Jalen Reagor, and I was like, I don't want Jalen Reagor. I get that Sony Michel is going to be a corpse, and I'm not going to need him, but I was like, I don't want him. And I was like, maybe he'll give me a third too. And he gave me the third, and I was like, yeah, okay, whatever. Yeah. Like, I don't care about Sony Michel. I'll take it. So, but if I'm in a championship, no, I am riding out what I have, unless it's a disaster. But for the most part, if you have a championship quality team, I don't think you're that desperate. Like, I mean, there's a chance that this COVID thing has absolutely obliterated you. But if it has, and you've still made it this far, more power to you. I don't know how the hell you did it, because every team I have that has been smacked by the COVID brick is I don't even check those scores because I'm in the consolation bracket, or I'm in the third place game, or I'm doing whatever. But
Yep. Yeah, I've been on both sides of it. And personally, I like trade deadlines because I like the idea of you play with what you had.
And you're old.
That's me, I guess.
Fine. You're an old.
I'm just out there on my freshly shoveled driveway, yelling at clouds, wanting standard scoring back, wanting my trade deadlines. but I get it. And don't get me wrong. And people
just
know
while eating a Werther's. You just got all those delicious
just unwrapping it, just fishing through the strawberry wrapped ones that no one ever eats, but somehow they exist. Eating a Werther's, asshole. But the funny thing is, people know that I don't like leagues without trade deadlines. So like whenever I make a trade, I'll often get the message like, "Oh, look at you going again!" Like, F off! I'm trying to win this thing, So that's what I got to do because my opponents are doing it. But yeah, I flipped old Ronald Jones for a second in a league last week. I was pumped as hell about that.
Yep.
I hate Ronald Jones. I was pumped as hell to get rid of him. So
it's a good move for somebody that's trying to win too.
Yeah.
So but yes, in your situation, toodaloo.
Yep, exactly. And it was, the best part was, it wasn't even his second. It was another second that was already like, it's going to be in the middle. So if it's not like I'm giving him the 212, like he's giving me the 212. Right. So I was like, smash, let's do this thing. And he's in the championship. Good for him. He's got a guy that's going to be really solid. Yeah, it's just interesting because I know when I'm on the side where like I have the piece that sucks and I can give it away, I'm like, it's all winning, right? And then when I'm on the other side of it, if I'm looking to buy, I just feel like, oh, am I really going to give this up for 1 week of this guy? Because I'm pretty sure you did that to me in Rockolution last year. That same league I lost AJ, and I bought Drew Brees from you for a second, and then like right before the playoffs, and then Brees decided not to play for a really long time. Got hurt.
I gave you Jared Goff, and then he had 3 touchdowns. So
and then he got COVID. So, yeah. But I might start him this week, even coming back, because my other option is Baker Mayfield. So here's to Justin Herbert because my QB2 sucks. But yeah, I think if trades are allowed, there's nothing wrong with pounding the table, see what's out there, grab something cheap. Could you imagine if you're in the semifinals and you picked up Justin Jackson for nothing? I mean, he got you to the finals. So nothing wrong with that. I'm also a guy who doesn't really like draft picks that much, so I don't mind shipping them off for a Band-Aid if I need. But I think the one thing, it's too late now, but if you're in dynasty leagues, make a mental note. I mean, I had guys that I was trading to playoff contenders even before the end of the season that I just picked up off waivers. I mean, so even through the playoffs, I was adding guys off waivers. I wasn't like, holding people hostage, but like if I saw a guy, I was like, all right, I'm just going to stash him over here and see what happens. If I flip him for a third or fourth later, that was free, So
I do that a lot. Or it's like Mark Ingram. Like when Mark Ingram was getting a workload, whoever sends me the first third is the one who gets him. And then boop, you get one. See ya.
Yep.
I got it. That was sort of my thought with Sony Michel too. Like he's done well. He's going to help somebody win. I don't want to rely on him in the future because, commits his life to history. I'm going to look at Sony Michel's history and see that it's not great.
It feels so. I have a couple of, I have Sony Michel that I have in the finals. And I'm like, do I want to win with Sony Michel? Yes. But I mean, it still feels weird.
You're like, was the 105 worth it 3 years ago? It's paying off now, baby.
Hey, I'm looking forward to a couple of long runs from Keyshawn Vaughn again this week because when that hit, I was just like, think of all the leagues he's just sitting there on the wire in deep dynasty leagues, just laying there because
it's just giving hope for Trey Sermon.
Don't even mention the name freaking Trey Sermon. I picked him up in a 1 QB at the 112 in a rookie draft, and I felt I was on top of the world. I had people offering me stuff. I'm like, no, I nailed it.
This is my guy.
You're all idiots. You left Trey Sermon for me. I took him. You screwed, and now I'm sitting here with dust. I couldn't trade him for anything, and that's just where you literally just die on that hill. Now it's over. You just leave it and give him the offseason, see what happens, and that's it. But anyway, all right. Well, anything else you want to touch on as we're here in the final week? I mean, this is a lot of fun, good discussion. But obviously we got some championships to win. So you got anything else as we're wrapping up here, Jerry?
No, like I would love to give you some profound, like Aristotelian advice about like how to win, but I've said it's tough probably 35 times this podcast, I feel like, because the game we are playing right now is tougher than it has ever been ever. Like not only because there are more players and there are better players and they're smart and they're good and they think and they don't trade Ryan Matthews for Stephon Diggs like I did early in my life trying to win a championship.
Oh, no.
And guess who I'm playing in my home league dynasty championship?
No.
Stephon Diggs, the
that
same
is-
guy I
man.
traded. So that's
That's the part you got to love about Dynasty. This stuff will come back around and bite your ass years down the line.
Yep. It was the year before it was like the end of his rookie year or something. And I needed a running back. And I was, Ryan Matthews is starting. There's kids that are listening to this podcast that have no damn idea who Ryan Matthews even is. And I got to play Stephon Diggs in the championship.
Was that Chargers Ryan Matthews or Eagles Ryan Matthews?
I feel like it was Eagles Ryan Matthews, but I'm not. I don't remember because there's always like the Ryan Terrains and the Roy Helus of the world that you just every time like if I'm on Facebook or something, you know how they like show you the posts you've done, and I'll be like, "Come on, Eric Decker, get me 17 points," and you're just like, "Oh, there's a blast from the past." Like that's great.
That is the one thing I do miss about Facebook, because that stuff when I remember I used to post on there, you get those memory things back. You're like, oh, here's me cheering for some schmuck in some fantasy matchup. You mentioned Ryan Matthews. You mentioned Roy Halou or whatever, which you're just bringing up all these names. I'm pretty sure you and I had this discussion in the offseason, so I think it's good revisiting. What were you on team FRB this offseason? Was that you?
FRB?
Yeah,
like,
F the running back.
I
don't want to get us canceled here.
Right. I mean, I sort of always am though.
Oh, okay.
Like, not in redraft, but like in Dynasty, I never build my teams around running backs ever.
Yeah, Mike did it. He said he was just going to ask the same question about which Ryan Matthews it was.
Mike, it wasn't a good one.
No,
it did not work out. That trade does not work out. It was a mistake. That's why I sit here and I do this podcast, because I have made more mistakes than every other person on the planet combined. So I can tell you all the piss poor decisions so that you can avoid them.
Your recall
and how they are detrimental to your future rosters.
Your recall of these trades and things too is just hilarious. Like,
well, they piss you off. They piss you off. That's what makes this game so fun, though. But it sucks.
Yeah,
like I traded Dwayne Haskins for Chris Godwin in a league. See, like I remember that one. That was a good one. I appreciated that one. That was nice of him. Before Dwayne Haskins played a game.
You traded Haskins away for Chris Godwin.
Oh yes.
Oh, see, that's money right there. I traded Godwin away. Like 2 years ago. I didn't even remember who I got, and that's how crappy it was. I can't remember who it was. It was someone shitty, and
there's probably 100 trades that are like that, where like we trade good players and we get just dirt.
Have you made any trades this year that already you're like, damn it, what the hell was I thinking? Just in the last few months, I'll let you think about yours. I have one for sure. Okay. I was in a league. My team's older. I got Keenan Allen, Tyreek Hill, Tom Brady. I got some couple young guys, but this is a win now. I was in the finals last year. I'm like, I want to win right now, right? And this was like week 5, and Allen Robinson, man, he's been down, but it's Allen Robinson. Let's go. I'm getting me some Allen Robinson. Back. So I only had one rookie pick in that league the year before, second rounder, early second, and I picked one Elijah Mitchell. And I was like, all right, I'm going to go ahead. I love this guy. I have him on roster, but I'm going to go ahead and move him here. So I gave up Elijah Mitchell, Hunter Henry, and a tight end premium in 2/3 to get Allen Robinson. Then, as we all know, Allen Robinson has continued to take a dump. Hopefully he returns to his full health from COVID, because that stuff sucked at the end of the year. But he has sucked all year. And Elijah Mitchell goes on to be like the wide receiver 5 from like week 6 through whenever he got injured. Like, the dude has been the kid's been awesome. I knew it, and I still didn't trust myself.
Elijah Moore? Are you talking about
Elijah Mitchell? Oh, shit. Sorry. My bad. Elijah Moore.
That's even worse.
Elijah Moore. My bad. I'm sorry.
He's even better.
It's even worse than I told it. So Elijah Moore, I gave away for maybe a corpse of Allen Robinson. So already I'm pissed at myself about that, because I have very little young talent on that team. So I'm struggling, but. Have you had any trades that you can think of already this year?
I'm trying to pull it up. I made it with Matty Big Chest. There it is. I found it. It's in the only Devi league I'm in, which is the Dynasty Warzone Devi 1. I traded away Kyle Pitts and a 2022 second tight end premium, mind you. And I got back
Uh-oh.
a 2023 first, and this is a Devi depleted league. Like, we're in like our third or fourth year or something. So you're getting either freshmen or just scraps for the most part, and Miles Sanders. So I gave up potentially, probably, almost certainly the tight end 1 of the Dynasty future, and a second to get Miles Sanders, and a first. And it's a Devi league. So mind you, I am not going to pick anybody good. Like I'm going to end up with Terrace Marshall or something. And it's that because it's not my cup of tea. But
that's I've definitely on that Miles Sanders train at the beginning of the year, and because he was cheap, I was like, hey, I can get him cheap.
I always fall for those guys, which they've worked out. Don't get me wrong, from time to time, but
yeah,
I was definitely all aboard Miles Sanders, and I was like, I'll get the first. Like, and Kyle Pitts, he's a tight end. What's he gonna do? And then he gets 1,000 yards, and now granted, he's only got 1 touchdown, but he's gonna get 10 next year, and I'm gonna cry, and it's gonna be horrible.
Yeah, there's things like that with like Pitts, and even like for me, Waddle is a big like I have Waddle on every redraft team. I have him on no dynasty teams, and it just sucks because I was a big Waddle over Devonta Smith. Like screw Devonta, and maybe it's because Eagles hatred, but I was like Waddle all day. Like he was better than Smith. Like in college, like he was the better prospect. Why all of a sudden do we think that Smith going to the Eagles is anything better than Waddle going to Miami? But I own no Waddle on any dynasty teams, which sucks. So now I'll never own him until Waddle's 32 years old, and I'm just like, get over here, old man. Let's win a championship, and he can have my Werthers, and we'll just enjoy life.
Yep.
But it like Pitts is another one. I just wasn't in position to get him anywhere, and now I'll never own him like in any league.
That was the only league I had him in.
Yeah.
And I like you said, like I'll never have him unless I take him in a redraft league. But that'll probably be too early, so I won't do it.
Yeah, that's the thing too, right? Because it's like part of me just wants to get a redraft team just to pick, just overdraft the shit out of all the dynasty guys I'll never own, and just be like, okay, Patrick Mahomes.
I had him in 2022 that one time.
Yes, exactly. So, yeah, it's always fun looking back. One thing I like looking back on rookie drafts, like even before the season even starts. Like look back, like how much has changed in that. 3 to 4 months, and then look at it again. It's freaking nuts, and it'll probably lead you to just wanting to get rid of picks because of how the hit rate is so bad. This year hopefully will be better, but
maybe. But I mean, hope in one hand and shit in the other, and let me know which one fills up first. That's why for the first couple of years I played this game, I watched every player. I wanted to know everything about them. I was going to make my own choices. And this year I was like, I'm not doing any of it. I'm not going to watch one effing player outside of Michigan State, and they were terrible until this year. But I was like, I'm going to let the NFL draft tell me. And then I'm going to, make my decision about what I think their role is going to be on the team. And I'm going to diversify, even if I don't like a player. Because I did not like Jalen Waddle. I was like, they should not have picked him that early. That was stupid. But I was like, you know what? You are not an NFL scout. So if this team took them at number 5 overall, and he's an Alabama wide receiver, and he was probably a 5-star, like he's probably going to be good and he's going to be all right. And I like Tua too. Don't tell Randy. I can say that while Randy's not on the show. If I took him, dude's been a monster. Like those are the leagues where I'm like, I am the smartest, best player in the world. Even if I didn't like him, I only took him because I didn't have him in a ton of leagues.
Yep. Yeah. I've definitely whenever I do end up having some rookie picks available to me, Mike's correcting you in the chat here. 6th overall. Fair. Damn it.
We took Penei Sewell at 7. That's all.
Yeah, I mean, that's not.
No, I'm.
You guys needed plenty.
Yes.
It definitely is from when I happen to have a rookie pick available that's not in the 4th round. I mean, there's just so many good content people out there that watch all of these players. Like I lean the hell out of on all these guys. Like, Dallas was a big help to me here on the War Zone covering these guys. I mean, there's just so many people on Twitter that I've kind of followed for a while, and I know who I like and I know who I don't. The only thing I really apply to
name names,
yes.
people we don't like, but
yes. The only thing that I apply to my rookie analysis is if he is too damn small and just very fast, wide receiver in the first round, I don't want you. I don't want you. So no John Ross for me. Thank you very much. That kind of guy.
Atwell in the second round, like
yes. Yeah, no, thank you.
My strategy is the same way.
Good. I'm glad we're on the same page there. But it's good, dude. It's gonna get fun. Like honestly, as we get through this last season, I'm super pumped for championships. But that's only fun for the two people in it. I mean, as soon as this thing rolls over, I mean, we're gonna be looking at. I know for some of my I'll be looking at tough decisions because I got to clear my IR. Like, who am I cutting? Who I got to keep? We're gonna have some taxi decisions rolling up here soon. Trades being made. And then draft picks are going to start getting hot and heavy again as we get into draft season. So it's going to be a fun off season. I'm looking forward to it, but hopefully bring some money with me.
Right. That's the goal. What if you're not in the championship? We have multiple leagues where we have leagues that we can focus on, and we can just focus on that. But let's say you're in 2 or 3 leagues and you're not in a championship. Mm-hmm. What do you are you just sort of giving it a break? It's been a stressful time. Give it a couple weeks, and then you're going to try and grind it out, or are you trying to exploit the championship people?
Yeah, for me, once the season kind of ends, I'm definitely in hibernation mode for about a month. I've focused on just playoff stuff, I like
to not get divorced.
Yeah, exactly. Just investing and all that, because I know I'm about to just flip the switch back on and just only focus on Dynasty again. But for me, especially I started doing it last week, and you guys can still do it this week. Some leagues lock waivers after the championship. So for me, I'm scrounging through every Dynasty team. I'm a freaking rat out there. I'm just looking for any scraps that are for free. If I'm sitting there with Mark Ingram or other old guy, Donta Ford, I don't know, maybe guys that are not relevant at all. If I these guys are going to be off my roster in 3 months when I draft someone, I might as well pick up somebody else. I was trying to, I can even pull up a team like I did this with over the weekend. I picked up Dwayne Estridge, right? Has he been good at all? No. He was a 3rd round pick. He missed half the season though. So with an injury. So I looked, he was on 4 waivers in Dynasty leagues I was in. They don't have taxis, so it's hard. I'm add, that's perfectly fine. I'll go ahead. I'll drop Jake Fromm, who I was not going to play anymore, right? Or Latavius Murray. I picked up Smith Marset or whatever the hell his name is. He caught the touchdown for the Vikings. What I do honestly is I go back, I find some old ass ADP or rookie ADP or something from before the season. And now there's a bunch of players on that nobody wants. I just scrounge through to see if they're available in any of my leagues. I just go to Sleeper, pull up players, click the little rookie checkbox, see who's out there for free. Search, filter it by ADP from 6 months ago, see who's now on the wire. So I'm doing a lot of that crap because I'm a freaking nutcase probably. But I'm doing a lot of that. Not even to try to steal these guys from the championship guys, but just hey, I'm just going to fill my roster with players that I'm just going to see. If you really want to get sick, and maybe you probably should be doing this all the time. I know I do it if I just see somebody, I'm is he going to do anything? I'm looking at contracts. I'm trying to see who's coming up, who's expiring, who could that open the door for, those types of things, because I want to get that player Josh Palmer. My God, if I had an opportunity to get Palmer, I have him on any team I can, because Mike Williams is playing on that franchise tag, could be out of Dodge, right? Those are the kind of players that the minute everyone else realizes that Mike Williams is potentially no longer going to be on the Chargers, Palmer's through the freaking roof.
And you don't even need him to play a game. You don't need him to earn any points for your team. Just in the moment that Mike Williams is gone, his value goes weep. So I'm with you.
Exactly. So that's the kind of stuff I'm doing right now, even for teams, because it's going to lock for a lot of my leagues. It locks after Sunday or Monday, whatever. Waivers don't run again. So I'm trying to get all my freebies now. I'll usually, if I know that they're guys that I'm not trying to go out there and pick up, Justin Jackson if he was out there. I leave that for the guys that have something to play for. But if there's other younger players that I can scoop up and just stash away, I'm doing that. And I might be pinging if I got somebody if I have a Ronald Jones or something along those lines, I'm pinging the championship guy hey, give me nothing for him. And you can have him in your championship game. I hate this man. So that's definitely what I'm doing. I mean, honestly, I mentioned it earlier, like alluded to it, the F running backs this year has been insanity. I can't even tell you the names that I've traded to people in Dynasty, like Alex Collins. This dude was dead in the water. And I picked him up and traded him in a bunch of leagues. Like same thing you mentioned earlier, just Mark Ingram, you know? So like that, I think that's honestly where I think the running back position is just so, it's just so just volatile. It changes all the time. But those are honestly, you can just pick up these 1 week streaming type guys and even in Dynasty and trade them off for little pieces here and there and just see what happens. So, I guess that was a very, very long answer to your question, but that's all the crap I'm doing right now because I got nothing else going on.
That was way better than anything I was going to give him, so I'll take it.
Do you have any little tricks that you try to do this time of year?
Yeah, listen to you, steal yours, and then go on my leagues and pick up all of them so you don't get to them. What do you mean?
My
little trick is to invite people that are in my leagues onto the podcast, and then they tell me what they're going to do, and then I steal it.
Well, I was able to pick up in one. This league's not super deep rosters, but I picked up there's no taxi either, but it's deep enough. Diami Brown, Dwayne Estridge, and Smith Marset, the 3 named guy from the Vikings. I picked all those guys up for free 2 days ago. So yeah, that's the kind of thing I'm just trying to.
Patterson's a guy I've been picking up a lot. I don't know what it is. I don't love Antonio Gibson, so I just always go for Patterson. But
I have some leagues that I've probably picked up and dropped Patterson like every Saturday. I'm just like
my home dynasty league is like that.
Yes,
he's always the guy I drop, and then I'm just like, oh, Jarrett Patterson is here.
Yeah, on Sleeper you can like click up. I don't know if you can do it on the website, but on the app you can. If you click a player, you can go to the history and see all the transactions that involve that player.
Yeah.
I definitely want to do that in a bunch of leagues. I know I've picked up Patterson a bunch and just see how many times I owned him in these leagues because it's just like, it's the same thing. Like, oh, he's available. How can he be available? Oh, I just dropped him 3 days ago. But Mike sent it in here. Darton, that's Jalen Darton. That's the receiver for the Bucks, I believe. Right. So stuff like that. I mean, those are the players, honestly, you should be looking for because they could just be out there hanging around. And honestly, I think especially the rookie wide receivers, like, yeah, if they're drafted after round 3, they're probably not going to be much of anything. But
right.
I mean, if you have guys that you know you're going to be cutting before the rookie draft, just there's no problem with just stashing them and just drop them in 4 months. But who knows what else is going to be going on. Maybe you do want to stash those guys if you make a move or open up roster spots or whatever. So anyway, but I like your strategy, Jerry. Just there ain't nothing wrong with just stealing off other people. Smarter, not harder.
Listen,
man.
We've said it multiple times on this podcast. A lot of good players have a lot of good advice.
Yep.
I steal that advice.
That's good stuff, man. Well, I think I'll put a bow on this thing for tonight. This was a lot of fun. We honestly had no show sheets. Hopefully you guys appreciated the conversation. Jerry, I always enjoy hanging out with you. It's been good. Good luck to you in all your championship matchups, even against Memphis. That should be a good one.
Especially against Memphis. You messed that up, but it's fine.
We got to hear about that. So Patreon, I'm sure you got to be dropping the screenshots of that matchup in there. Unless you lose, then you might not want to do that.
Then he can piss off. No, he'll definitely do it.
Exactly.
Me for sure.
Exactly. By the end of Sunday or Monday, I guess, when people ask how many leagues were in this year, the answer will be however many I won. That's how many I was in. The rest of those, don't worry about those. Those were just little test areas. I was just, picking up Dwayne Estrogen, for fun on Christmas Eve. I literally picked Estridge up on Christmas. I'm just sitting there picking up guys off the wire for nothing.
You got your new socks and you got everything else, and you're like, oh, Dwayne Estridge.
What a sick world we live in with this stuff. But
we're psychopaths.
It's so great.
And everyone that's listening is a psychopath too.
Everybody has that story as well. Like when you meet like a normal person, they're like, oh, I play fantasy football, and like, oh yeah, like yeah, I'm in a work league, and then you're like you don't even know. Don't ask me. Don't ask me. Don't ask me. Like, oh, do you play? Like, yeah, I dabble. And the minute I open my mouth about just how many leagues,
do you tell people?
I've definitely come clean to like, it usually isn't my first answer. Like if someone asks me, I'm like, oh yeah, I play. Like how many leagues? Oh, too many. Is usually my answer too. Yeah. And then when they actually, they're like, well, what's the number? And then I give them the number, and it's it's disgusting.
Mine's always whenever I wear like a DWZ hat or a sweatshirt or something, and they're like, oh, what's that? It's a podcast. Don't worry about it.
It's a podcast. You say don't even tell them that you're on it. It's a podcast.
Yeah. For the most, the problem is if you don't know what Dynasty is, like, I do this because I want to help the other psychopaths, but I also sort of don't want to bring other people into the black hole that is Dynasty because it sucks you in.
Yes.
Like I went, I started this whole thing by getting my ass beat in my redraft league. I lost my first 2 years and my friends were just brutal about it because I didn't make the playoffs in either one. Mm-hmm. And I was like, never again. You're all going to get the Jerry fantasy football story. Never again. Like I am going to kick the absolute piss out of them. And so I started to listening to Matthew Berry's podcast, the 06010.
Yes. Right? Okay. Yep. The gateway drug.
Yep. It's exactly, that's a good way to put it. I went on a tear. I won. That was the year Josh Gordon was good and Nick Foles. So I got super lucky my first championship. And I was in. And then, I was like, well, I've heard rumblings about Twitter, or not Twitter. I knew what Twitter was, Dynasty, because Mike Clay always did his ranking. And I was like, okay, well, if I'm listening to podcasts and I'm looking forward to it, and then I started going and I started listening to you and Seth, and then I started listening to the original Warzone before I was even on the damn show, and the nerds and everything else, and then I was in.
Yeah.
Right. And then it sucks you in, and then you're playing like I was in like 3 Devy leagues at one point, and like eliminators, and also like I don't even like any of that stuff for the most part. Like I've cut down on the leagues I don't like. Mm. But so yeah, like when it comes down to like if someone's like, oh, how many leagues do you play? I just go, more than you. Like it's a lot.
More than you.
like more than I want to tell you, honestly.
Yeah.
Because like if you say like 20, people are like, okay, that's the weird kid. Don't go near the weird kid.
Yes. Dude, it's always, you mentioned earlier, like you don't even like count. Like I have a folder bookmarked all these leagues, and when I click the folder, it expands, and it's just like this huge ass long list. I'm like, it's just ridiculous. But honestly, every year then it's like, oh man, I mean, I gotta do another startup. I gotta, fill out the room of like the Dynasty world, right? I can't just be sitting here talking about this stuff and not it's one more, but I always tell people once you surpass 3, it really doesn't matter. Like, at that point you're in it. Just play what's fun for you.
It's weird because like, my home league redraft, like you said, yours is the most important. Mine's, mine too. It's, I want to embarrass my friends, and I'm working on 3 of 4 in my 4th total.
Hell yeah.
And the next highest only has 2. So if I can double what the next highest has,
yep,
I'm going to let them know about it. So it's just, oh God, fantasy football is just so fun, man.
Dude, like, I'm so glad that we're on the same page, because same thing. I'm in a league. My first thing was no one had ever won back-to-back. So when I won back-to-back, I've thrown it on them, right? And then now, same thing. I'm at 4. This is our 11th year, and I'm going for 5 this year. And I was joking around. I was like, I'm going to take the entry fee isn't even that big. I think it's like $50. Like, it doesn't matter to me.
No,
like,
ours is 0. Ours is just a trophy. Beautiful.
I'm like, I'm going to take all that money. I'm just going to buy myself 5 championship rings, and just every time I hang out with you guys, I'm just going to Tom Brady your ass every time. Like, it's so much fun. Yeah. To me, the money is just, the winnings is just used for more entry fees. I don't care. Like, I'm just going to,
I agree. But like, I'm not, like Dr. Kyle, like he's spending just stupendous amounts of money on like, I don't got that kind of money. Like I can't do that. I got more student loan debt than a little bit. I love the game. Like I love the camaraderie. I love the community. I love the trust. Because, like, if you think my ass is going to go out on a basketball court and beat you, like, no, I'm going to be winded before I even tie my shoes. So I need some sort of way to laugh in my friends' faces. And if I can send them a picture of me pretending I'm having sex with the championship trophy, I'm going to do something like that. Like, it's fun. And Dynasty is just, it's that next step, right? Like, like redraft is everybody's like first love. Like, like my league, that's my, my baby. But then my first Dynasty league, I'm in the championship in that. It's 2-week championships. I'm down 19 points. So it's not looking great, but I'm getting Lamar Jackson back.
There we go.
But like, I've never won that league. Like, I have a Dynasty podcast. I've won Dynasty championships, never my damn home league. So my friends, the same ones they're all in the redraft league too. The same ones that I talk shit about a lot know I have a podcast. For a Dynasty show. And they're the ones that have won it. So they let me know, which is why it makes it so competitive. And it's so fun. And I want that for everybody. And it's just a good time. Randy and you have sort of become that little bit. You guys are, I definitely look forward to kicking the absolute piss out of you. I haven't done it to you in a while, actually. But the only league I even won that I think we've ever done was I took on the Orphan in TFFG. And P-Win wins that every damn year now. He's got a juggernaut.
I've never won it. That was my first Dynasty League too. I've never won. I don't even know if I've ever made the finals. Like, I don't know what the hell else to do. And then, like, this year I thought I was set up pretty good. And it's just, there's just not enough left in the league when one team is just literally just beating the bejesus out of us every single year and just keeps getting better every year somehow. But yeah, man, it's definitely, I love I don't even look at matchups to see like what the players I'm playing against. I'm always just looking for the owners I'm playing against, because that way I'm always just kind of like, we're going at it this week in this league or whatever. And that's a lot of fun. So I like, that's the other reason I like being in a bunch of leagues. And when we get to this time of year and I'm trimming down, instead of doing waivers for 20 leagues, I'm doing it for, 10 or 8 or whatever. Or if I'm setting lineups, I'm doing it for just these. Like, it is refreshing, because I'm like, that's it. That's all I had. That took me 10 minutes. I'm usually
I did that this weekend.
Usually my Tuesday nights are like, okay, sit down, get something to drink, get a snack here, because it's waiver night. This is literally 2.5 hours of my life. Here I go. And so when I get to this part of the year, it's like, dang, okay. And so then I'm like, maybe I need to cut back some leagues. But as we all know, you get to the spring and new ones start popping in and leagues start firing back up a little bit, for even the redraft ones I was considering cutting. I'm like, well, I can't let these assholes get away with, me not being in this league. So
it's just so fun. Like, we rambled on for 15 minutes, but honestly, we could do it for the next 3 hours too. The game we play is so fun. And, this is the end of point scoring season this week for the most part. So it's sort of the send off on 2021. Just Dynasty, we love you. Fantasy, we love you. Trash talk, we love you. Randy, we miss you. We love you too. And I hope I make you cry tears of pain in a few days.
And that's the best part, man. Facing off against your buddies in these ships are awesome. And so, like Mike said here, then the real season begins. The off season, there is no off season. So looking forward to all these Dynasty leagues. And the other thing too, I will just last little plug here. You were at the Fantasy Football Expo this year. You get a taste of that, I think, as well with the Patreon chat. Just when you meet fellow sickos that love this stuff as much as you, and you can have conversations that you aren't having with your little cube mate next door that's trying to beat his brother in their their 8-team redraft.
They don't know who Jalen Darton is.
Exactly. No, absolutely.
They don't know who Dare Ogunbowale is. However you say it.
So that when you can interact with people like that, it's definitely a good time, and you get to see like, man, there are actually other people like this. And also get into leagues with those people, because as much as every championship to me is sweet as hell, and those home ones are definitely special, when you win leagues where that you just beat really good players, I mean, that's even sweeter. So that's why I was really hoping to get it done over Memphis in that other league, but you guys are facing off for the ship, so should be a good one there. And at least we can say that the U.S. took it home because 3 of 4, I think, right?
Yeah.
And then, I mean, come on, got the ship sewn up. So way to represent.
Listen, I mean, Pat had a good team. He gave me a showing, but yeah, no.
You got a weirdo name in this one too. The Great Emu War. Is that some not? Is that some?
No, come on, history, man. The Australians go to war with a bunch of emus. They try to wipe emus out. I don't remember the year.
I don't know if this is real.
It's the early 20th century. Let's Google it.
I don't know. You could honestly, that could be real. I would.
It was 1932.
They literally fought some whales.
Yeah, emus were a nuisance, so the military did operations to eliminate all the emus in Australia because Australia.
There you go.
I mean, if you've ever listened to the Aussie guys and heard G or AJ talk, it's not a surprise that they went killing emus.
See, we need to work this in. Let Memphis know that we need a history time with Jerry segment on the DWZ every single week because the things that I learned from this man on Twitter alone have surpassed anything that I have retained from my years in the educational
my Latin
system.
Team names, though. I do a lot of Latin team names, and he does not like any of them.
I don't know. I can barely pronounce real words that I use or have seen at other places in my life, let alone whatever this one is in this other league that I can't even say.
Here, let's see. Hold on. Are we talking about
time.
TFFG? Let's look it up real
TFFG.
quick, just for the people, while we're rambling.
Yeah, go make sure to scroll to the bottom because that's where we all lived this year.
That's true. I did get the 101 in that pick. Okay. Ad imperio aedificum sum. So essentially, so you can't translate Latin literally.
Oh, of course not.
Essentially, it means I am building an empire. That's what it means.
Gotcha. Let's take a look at this empire since we're in here. We got Tua. Okay, there's your boy. You got DK Metcalf, Lamar. So you got some quarterbacks. You got Trevor Lawrence. This is a 1 QB league. You got Trey Lance.
Well, everyone just kept giving them to me. I had late first because I was a contender until this year. So I just kept taking them. So I was like, fuck it.
Yeah. You have Elijah Mitchell Moore. You got him. Hawk. You got Kareem Hunt. Okay. And then you have this is why you're building an empire.
You found the first
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 first-round picks, including mine. And including your own. So you got, you're gonna have. You got some firepower.
So it sucks because I have a very poop team. Speaking of which, Jarrett Patterson starting on this team. That's how bad that running back room is. I only ended up with 103 and 104 because Pilmer has 104. I have 103. Seth decided he was gonna really shit the bed in that league and took the 101. But
yeah, his team was really, really bad. Yeah, Seth. I think that's the second year in a row Seth has the 101. So I think eventually he has to start doing something with his team. You and I made a trade in that league. That was months ago. What was it? It was Chark and my first for Hopkins, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that didn't pan out for me because now you have the 107, and I'm sitting there with DeAndre Hopkins, I guess. So yeah, we'll see. And I just lost I only had 2 running backs on that squad, besides Trey Sermon, and one of them's name is James Robinson. So
does Trey Sermon really count though?
No, honestly, I'm already looking at it, and I'm like, do I cut Trey Sermon or Kenneth Gainwell? To bring Will Fuller off of IR.
This game really is a bitch sometimes.
Dude, it's so funny, and the best part is because I don't diversify. Like if I like a guy, I just get him, and then when he sucks, it's very sad.
I mean, I did that with Geis. I went through. I learned my lesson with Geis and Juju because I obsessed over Geis and Juju, and I had them everywhere. Mm-hmm. And it screwed me in so many leagues. So now I don't do that. I just nope. Even if I don't like guys, like when I didn't like Jalen Waddle and it worked out. Yep. Sometimes I have guys that, I do like, but I don't take them in every league. I say that, but I have more Justin Jefferson than a little bit. But
hey, it's not a bad.
So, but if something bad happens to Justin Jefferson, I'm deleting my sleeper app. I'm deleting my Fantasy League login. And you guys just aren't going to see me anymore.
Yeah, that stuff like that does sting. And man, Darius Geis. Oh boy, that was sad turn of events there because
listen, we're going to talk rookies, and there will be definitely a lot of Darius Geis and Rashad Penny and Trey Sermon talks upcoming in the offseason. We're not going
Keyshawn Vaughn.
Yeah, Keyshawn Vaughn.
Oh,
there's a bazillion of them. I mean, Devontae Booker for the longest time was sort of like that. Royce Freeman, we're going to talk about all this kind of stuff in the offseason. Kyle and I are just spitballing. We're just having a jolly good time sending off 2001.
Who was the guy? What was the receiver for were you the guy that traded for Corey
Davis?
The Browns wide receiver? Cory Coleman. Yes, everybody. Good old Cory Coleman.
I traded Michael Thomas straight up for him in the rookie draft.
That's disappointing. He was actually on the Giants last year. I thought he would have been on the league.
Really? Good for him. I hope you got all the money you can.
Yes,
because you took some from me.
There's a lot of in-kill Harriet living in my life at the moment that I just don't know what to do with.
Yeah, he was 101,
Rager, I just want to vomit.
See, I don't think I drafted Rager in. Oh, there was one league because someone timed out, and I drafted DK Metcalf, and then they came back and they're like, "Oh, I missed my pick." No, I was going to take DK, and I'm a good guy. Like you said, I'm a guy that's do whatever you want. He's like, oh, I was going to take DK. Okay, you can have DK, and I took Rager right after.
I'm the commissioner of that league, so at the moment, I really appreciated you being kind, but in hindsight, that was the straw that broke the camel's back because of that league. I've turned the asshole meter up a bit on some of these guys because that is the worst. Don't put your commissioner in those situations, and don't force nice people like Jerry to
take Jalen Reagor.
Yes, that was your reward for being nice.
Yeah,
I honestly anytime I consider it and it screws me, I'm always just like, yeah, it never pays. What the hell am I doing?
No,
oh yeah, I let that old lady go ahead of me in this line. I went over here, and now this checkout line's taking me half an hour, and she's already at home with their dentures in a glass taking a nap. Damn it. I didn't even get a Werther's out of it. And there you go, full circle.
Always with the Werther's.
That's how you do it.
Theme of the show.
So, all right, we Memphis is never gonna let me host again because we're at 70 minutes already. But
no one's gonna listen again because this was just us rambling, having a good time.
Hey, this is the most fun. I don't want to have those high pressure calls of start sits, all the time, because I don't want to cost some people some championships. I already had one on week. What was that? So these weeks are screwing me up. So this is 17. 16 was this last week. 15 was the first round of playoffs. Guy messages me right before noon or 1 o'clock, whatever, right before kickoff. Michael Carter or Miles Sanders. And I'm like, well, Ty Johnson was just ruled out. Michael Carter's coming back. The kid was really good. It's PPR. He's been a pass catcher. Screw Miles Sanders. He didn't have a touchdown this year. Michael Carter, go. Well, Michael Carter scores 3 points. Miles Sanders puts up 100 yards on Monday Night Football. The guy messaged me a screenshot of his results, and he lost. He lost on a tiebreaker. He was literally tied to the decimal. I'm just like, no. I'm like, I'm so sorry. It stings, man. It really does. It really stings. So
you can come up with the best reasoning ever, and sometimes it just spits right in your face.
Exactly. So, all right. With that, Mike, in the chat, thank you, sir, for hanging out all night. You are a very loyal listener. We appreciate you. We appreciate everybody that tuned in for this one. Again, if you're listening on a podcast, 5-star on Apple Podcast, 5-star on Spotify now. Let's go. Let's see some 5-star reviews and hang out with us. Stay subscribed for the entire offseason. With that, that's Jerry. I'm Kyle. Memphis will be back soon. Don't worry. And I'll be back on Thursday night, 7 p.m. Eastern time, live on the DWZ YouTube channel. We'll catch you guys later.